That's great. First of all, I want to basically welcome everybody. It's been a really long time since the Industrial Development Board has met, and I've missed seeing you. As sort of the economy and incentives all slowed down with COVID, so did the work of this board. So I'm viewing it as a good sign that we're getting back started again, that maybe that's a good sign for our recovery for Nashville. There is a statement that I need to read in order to allow us to have a virtual meeting. So I will do that now. It is the opinion of the chair and the staff that the items on today's agenda constitute essential business of this body, and that the meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. Are there any objections to holding this meeting virtually? Okay, hearing none. I want to thank Metro ITS, and particularly the director, Keith Durbin, for his team setting this up today. I know it's been a lot of work on them, and I greatly appreciate it. This meeting, just to let the members and audience know, is also being live streamed on Nashville.gov. That is something that is different than most of our meetings, so that's exciting too. I will now call the roll, and what I'd ask members to do is just unmute yourself to indicate your presence by saying aye. And we will also do the same thing each vote. You'll have to unmute yourself and vote on items. So I will first start with Nigel Hodge. Okay, Nigel, I think is going to take us late. Ken Weaver.
Here.
Christina Allen.
Here.
Quinn Siegel.
Here.
Tequila Johnson. Sarah Hanna. Winnie Forrester. Anthony Davis.
I'm here.
And Ginger Hauser, myself, I am here as well. So it sounds like Tequila, Sarah, and Winnie are not on the WebEx. Nigel had let me know he was going to be late.
I am here. It's Winnie Forrester.
Thank you, Winnie. I appreciate it. And I think with that, we do have a quorum. Am I correct, Margaret?
Yes, you have a quorum.
Thank you. So as Kathy had stated before we got started officially, with just some staff changes, we are not ready to distribute and approve the minutes, so we will do that in our next meeting. We set up a process for public comment. There was a phone line that was established that once the agenda was posted, allowed folks to leave messages. That went to Kathy West, and Kathy, you were going to double check to see if you had any messages. Can you let us know if you had any public comment messages?
No, I just checked again and we don't, and I'll periodically check during the meeting to make sure if we have any, I'll let you know. Okay.
Great, thank you. Our first item for approval is the QTC Management Inc. Fast Track Grant. And this is a state pass-through grant. And do we have representatives from QTC and Maxis Advisors on?
This is Margaret, and I don't see that they have joined the meeting. However, I do see that Lindy, and I'm probably going to mispronounce your last name, Barones from the state is here, and I know that she has worked with QTC to get this fast track grant together. And
Hi, Margaret. It's Lindy. I do see. It looks like one of the consultants, Andy, is on the list. She's just muted, and then there's another call-in number. Andy, are you able to unmute yourself?
She says she has a message that she cannot unmute.
Okay, it just let me unmute it. So I think that
You should be set up now.
Okay, great. I am unmuted now, and I believe Gordon Burgess was trying to dial in as well. He wasn't sent the WebEx link directly, so I forwarded it to him this morning. So I'm not sure if that would work or not, but hopefully he is. But I know that they wanted to be on the line unless there's some sort of technical difficulties. But on behalf of the company, they're very excited about this project. They really appreciate the support that's been given by the city and the state. And I know they are really looking forward to being a corporate citizen in the city of Nashville.
So Andy, I noticed this is a state pass-through grant for rehab of a facility. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the company and then a little bit about the property? I noticed it was in 37214, but can you give us a little bit of background?
I can see, I just want to double check that Gordon was not able to, was he maybe the unknown number that?
Andy, do you know which phone number belongs to him? Because I think that Michael Donnell is with ITS. He can move the call-in people over to a speaking mode.
I can unmute them if you would like, but I cannot make them a panelist.
Okay, I know he called me from 909-274-8789 this morning to let me know that he didn't have the link to dial in. Is that one of the numbers you're?
What was the first three?
It's area code 909. Oh, wait. I think he just responded. He's 626-780-0845. So I think he's still listening to us.
Yeah, I can unmute him if you would like.
Oh, that would be great, because I know he would probably like to say thank you on behalf of the company as well, and share some information that
I'll go unmute him now.
Up to in the building. Perfect. Thank you.
Are you able to hear me at this point?
We are.
Hello?
Welcome. Thank you.
I've been talking several times, and I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to make this happen? So let me first say again, as Andy indicated, we very much want to thank you. It made the decision, a stronger one for us to do this. Thus far, we have, as of the end of this week, based upon this commitment that was provided, we have 100 new employees at this time, and have spent over $2.5 million in upfitting our facilities. Beyond that, we are aggressively interviewing and expect to have about 225 local employees before year end. And then at this juncture, we are projecting 350 by the end of the first quarter. So we very much appreciate this commitment and are looking forward to disbursement to help us for that next push.
That is great. I appreciate you giving us the numbers. As I recall, you are a sort of healthcare exam platform. I'm probably not doing your company justice by describing it. Do you want to do a better job than I?
Sure. Our primary contract is with the Department of Veterans Affairs and Department of Defense doing compensation and pension exams, which are disability examinations for our wounded warriors, people who are discharging from the military, and our disabled veterans nationwide. We will not be doing the medical exams in this location. This will be one of our administrative arms, which we use to do the scheduling, the quality assurance, and all the activities that are necessary to be able to make those exams happen in a quality, timely, and customer service-oriented manner, which is where QTC comes from.
Gotcha. And the property that you're rehabbing, you want to describe a little bit about where it's located?
Well, and if anybody who's local generally seems to call it the CNA building. It's basically at Stewart's Ferry and Interstate 40.
Okay.
It's a long white building that kind of, I guess, was designed to look like an airplane. And the space had been vacated by a trade school and needed complete gutting and renovation to be able to use for any office-based purpose. Very excited to be in the area. And again, we have had a lot of very positive feedback from our new employees, both about the environment, the proximity to public, well, not public transit, sorry, for public roadways, things that hopefully will continue to allow us to draw the best and the brightest that Nashville has to offer.
That's great. I think I know where the building is now. So this is a
55,000 square feet of space.
Thank you. So this is a state pass-through grant. It is based on reimbursement of investment by the company in the upgrades, and then they are reimbursed for that. There is no real liability to the IDB. Bob, I assume you've looked at the documents. Lindy, from the state. Do either of you have comments to make?
No, it all seems to be in order, and IDB does not have any liability, and that's good. And if I may just say personally, I'm delighted they're doing it. Most of you know I'm a Marine veteran, and I've been working on veteran affairs for years and years as a private citizen. And so I'm loving it.
And thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Bob, for your service, and thank you to the IDB and Ginger for all of your help with regard to this one and acting as the pass-through agency in order for the state to facilitate our grants and our incentives to our great companies.
So I think we're now at the point to have a motion on approving the fast track agreement. Do I have a motion?
Motion, move approval.
Okay, that was from Ken. Do I have?
I second it. Christina seconds it.
Thank you, Christina. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion around the motion?
Well, I have a question, and it's just been so long since we met, and I wondered if someone could just give us a little refresher on the role here with these state pass-throughs. I went back and read, and I think I'm correct in saying that the Do Better bill doesn't apply to state pass-through grants. But if somebody could just clarify that and talk about our role in these specific things.
Margaret, are you best to answer this question?
I think that I can. No, the Do Better bill would not apply to this. These are funds that are provided directly from, well, I should say indirectly to the company from the state. And it's specifically to reimburse for building improvements, things of that nature, kind of hard costs. And they will be, what will happen after this, once these agreements are executed, the company will submit reimbursements to the IDB that finance will review, get sign off from the chair, and then those reimbursement requests will be forwarded to the state. The state will then review those requests, confirm that they are in compliance with the grant budget and the agreements, and then the state will provide the funding to the IDB via the help of the finance department, and then the finance department will disperse those funds to the company. So it is a true pass-through. And there's one of the agreements that will be executed upon approval is an agreement between the IDB and the company that essentially passes along any obligations that the IDB may have to the state, to the company. Hi, Nigel. Nigel just joined us.
Winnie, did that answer?
Good morning, Ms. Darby. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. I had another meeting prior to this, so thank you.
So, Nigel, to catch you up, where we are is we just reviewed the documents for the QTC Fast Track Grant. We're in the process of, we have a motion on the table and a second. We have are in the discussion period of the Fast Track Grant around the motion. If there's no further discussion, then I will be ready to take the roll for the vote. Is there any further discussion? Okay, so the motion on the table is to approve the fast track agreement for QTC. And Nigel Hodge, how do you vote?
Yes, approve.
Ken Weaver? Did you say approve, Ken?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Christine Allen?
Approve.
Quinn Siegel?
Approved.
Winnie Forrester?
Approve.
Anthony Davis?
I am for approval.
And I vote aye. I believe Tequila and Sarah are still not on the call. Is that correct? Okay.
Tequila's here.
Oh, Tequila, how do you vote?
Wait. I just got on, so.
Okay. Would you rather abstain from this? It's a fast track agreement that's a pass-through for QTC.
Yes, let me abstain. Let me pull this up real quick.
Okay. We'll put you down as abstain if you feel more comfortable. Let's tally the votes. I believe the QTC agreement is adopted. Margaret is shaking her head yes. And Tequila, I appreciate your festive wear for the meeting. The motion passes. We will now go to the second item, which is probably going to result in a little bit more discussion. It's the Metropolitan Transit Authority for a North Nashville Transit Center project. And this is sort of a new thing for us to do related to transit centers. It's an exciting thing, I think, for us to hear about. And there are several documents that you would have received in your email regarding this. I first would love to just have basically an overview of the project, the elements of it. Jim, I told you that I would start with you first and let you go, and then maybe recognize Steve Bland and some others that would like to explain the project as well.
Thanks, Ginger. This is Jim Murphy at Bradley. We're outside counsel for MTA on this transaction. Steve Bland and Rita Roberts Turner for MTA, I know, are on the call, as well as my partner, Richard Warren, who has been involved in negotiating the ground lease with the landowner. The purpose of this transaction is to facilitate the development of the neighborhood transit center at Clarksville Pike and 26th Avenue North. MTA's strategic plan calls for the development of several neighborhood transit centers so that people can catch different lines without having to go downtown. Right now, most everybody who catches a bus line has to go into town and then go back out on another line. These transit centers are designed to create some cross-town opportunities so that you don't have to go into town to change lines. The transit centers would have a climate-controlled waiting area with Wi-Fi, wayfaring information, and real-time arrival and departure information. And currently, there's one of these transit centers under development at the Hillsborough High School site, where Hillsborough High School is being rebuilt, and there's a transit center there. But the location at Clarksville Pike and 26th Avenue is a perfect location for another neighborhood transit center, because there are currently 3 lines that go past this intersection and 2 more that can be extended relatively easily, so that the people in this neighborhood can get onto a multiple of different lines and go cross town as opposed to having to go into town. MTA has been looking for, a location for a center. Fortunately, Steve had a conversation with the landowner that owns this site. He was very interested in having a transit center at this location because he's proposing a commercial development on the adjacent portion of his property. And so it was a situation where he was very interested in having one. MTA was very interested in being in this particular location. So it was a win-win from that standpoint. Initially, MTA tried to purchase the property from the landowner. He was not interested in purchasing the property, and so we had to pursue a long-term ground lease. Because federal funds are involved in this project, in order to do a long-term ground lease, MTA had to get a fair market rental appraisal done to be able to support the fact that the ground lease was not paying more than fair market value. That's something the federal government requires in order for federal funds to be available. The appraisal indicated that the fair market ground lease on this site was $170,000 a year with 10% increases every 5 years. And so that was the lease structure that MTA and the landowner entered into. It's a lease for 50 years with 2 10-year renewals, so a total potential term of 70 years. But under the lease and the way the appraisal was done, the appraisal assumed that the tenant paid all expenses, including property taxes. And so under the lease, MTA is obligated to pay property tax. If MTA owned the property, this property would be exempt. And so MTA came to us and said, how can we create a structure where Metro doesn't have to appropriate the tax payment to us each year, and then we pay it back to Metro? And we said, well, we can create a pilot and basically do it as an incentive. And so that's what this transaction is all about. Basically, the landowner gets no benefit from this from the standpoint, if the MTA lease terminates at any point, the taxes go back to 100%. The payment in lieu of tax amount goes up to 100%. So the landowner is not getting the benefit. As long as MTA is leasing this property for the transit center, the abatement will be be basically 100% abatement. Now we have to get state approval for a term longer than 20 years. So every year after 20 years is subject to state approval. We'll have to do that after this board approves this. We'll have to go to the state comptroller and the commissioner ECD and ask for approval. But we anticipate that will not be a difficult issue, since this really is a public use. The transit center is basically being developed by MTA. It's being funded by both federal, state, and local funds. And so the council has, at the last meeting, approved this pilot agreement. They also approved transferring the funds from a previously approved MTA project to this project. So the local funds are in place, and the project is under development. We've not signed the ground lease yet with the landowner, but anticipate doing that in the next few days. So that's where we are. We're here for questions, but it's really, at the end of the day, a pretty simple transaction. It's a mechanism to allow the property tax payments to be avoided during the time period that MTA is leasing the property.
Thank you, Jim. And did you do the Dell deal that then resulted in the 20-year and the state approval? Having to go to the state?
I'm pretty sure we did the Dell deal that got the 20.
So it's coming back around for you, isn't it?
Well, I've done several deals throughout the state where we've had terms of longer than 20 years. And, right. Again, we're familiar with going through this process of getting the state to approve it.
Okay, I want to give Steve Bland an opportunity to just talk on behalf of transit and sort of why they're interested and why they were interested in doing this project. I see that Steve has got his video, but I don't know that he's got his audio on. Is there anybody else from MTA WeGo that just want to talk about the transit sort of policy behind this?
Hi, this is Rita Roberts Turner. I don't know if you can hear me.
We can, thank you.
So we're actually going to try to help Steve with his volume. So let me see if he can get his sound on first. And then if we continue to have technical difficulties with that, I'll be happy to jump in.
I see he's Steve talking, but I don't hear anything.
I'll try this again. Hey.
We can hear you now.
For some reason, my computer always resets sound. So I appreciate the opportunity. I think Jim actually described the project pretty well. As part of our long-term strategic plan, we'd like to develop anywhere from 8 to 10 of these centers around the county. This particular site at 26th Avenue North and Clarksville Pike is actually one of the most strategic in the system. Jim alluded to the fact that 3 routes converge there now. We will do extensions to 2 others, so people will immediately be able to connect to 5 in that vicinity once it's completed. And we also have plans for another crosstown route that would originate at that center and connect North Nashville to East Nashville. It really expands the reach of the system. And as an example, we did an economic impact analysis for the federal government on this center, and for people in proximity in the North Nashville neighborhood, which is in an enterprise zone, it would increase the number of jobs accessible to folks in that neighborhood by about 125% within a 45-minute transit trip. So knowing that a major focus of the IDB is on economic development and economic opportunity in the city, although there won't be a huge number of jobs directly at that site, we will have some staff employed there. The expanded access to employment for people in that area is going to be actually pretty profound. We're partnering with a number of neighboring organizations. MDHA has public housing there. Directly across the site, Urban Housing Solutions has just developed an affordable housing unit. And I know it's the goal of the developer of the rest of the site. We'll take up about a quarter or so of the entire parcel, but it's a goal of the developer of that site that more broad-based housing opportunities be presented to the community. So, and Jim really alluded to the fact that it becomes kind of a net zero, for lack of a better word, to Metro without the property tax abatement. We would just be taking Metro funds from our appropriation, paying it back to Metro in the form of property taxes. So essentially, if we're granted the abatement, we will be able to invest that funding directly into transit service for the population.
I have a question, Ginger. Steve, it's for you. What other areas in the future are we looking at for MTA to have these type of hubs?
Sure. Jim alluded to one we're in development. We're actually doing a partnership with Metro Nashville Public Schools with the Hillsborough High School reconstruction in Green Hills. So generally, to describe the centers, and Jim mentioned that we look for the convergence of 2 or more transit routes, but beyond that, we'll look at other expanded mobility options. So for instance, at this site, you'll have locations for the rideshare operators like Lyft and Uber to be, electric vehicle charging stations, some of our larger centers, park and ride capacity, not at this specific site, but at some of the larger regional centers, micro-mobility devices. Part of this project will be to improve the pedestrian infrastructure, so doing sidewalk extensions. And some of the other locations around the county, and I would certainly, I'm happy to send connections to our strategic service plan that gives a lot of detail. But for instance, several, or one would be in the Madison area where we have route connections up there. Down in the Antioch area, the Nolensville Pike, Murfreesboro Pike areas. We have a very high priority regional center goal of having one in the Skyline area, essentially adjacent to the intersection of Dickerson Pike and Briley Parkway. That would be an important regional connection for us. Out in the Nations neighborhood, out in the Charlotte, White Bridge Road area. So those types of areas, frankly, if you look at a map of our route network, wherever you see 2 or more routes converging, those are potential targets. Those are some of the specific areas that we're trying to identify opportunistic projects.
Thank you.
Are there other questions by members for Steve?
Yes.
Nigel.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Chair Hauser. So a couple quick questions, if I may, if you'll appease me on this one. First question, just to clarify the parcel, is this just the corner parcel on Clarksville Pike, which is about 1/3 of an acre?
This particular parcel, Jim may have the very specifics in front of him, is about 1 3/4 acres of the broader site, which I believe is just over 6 acres.
Okay, yep. Because the owner has the corner and also the shopping center parcel itself, which is 5.5 acres. So you all are going to take up about 1.25 acres, you say?
About 1 3/4 acres.
Okay, awesome. I guess I'll start with the comment too. With that said, this area, I totally agree with you. For folks that are not as familiar with this area, it's definitely changing. There's some multifamily development that was recently built. I want to say here within the last several months that was finished. So certainly agree with you that as the area continues to further develop in the proximity to downtown, that it certainly makes sense to have a transit center there to really open that up for people in that area to have other options if they don't want to use vehicles. That totally makes sense. And this is more, I guess, for my buddy Jim Murphy at Bradley. For you, so I was looking through the document, so it looks like the pilot goes through December, the effective date through December of this year. Is that accurate, Jim, or am I not understanding that correctly?
So Nigel, the pilot starts would start actually January 1 of next year, as I recall. If you give me a second, I want to pull it up here for a minute so that I'm speaking intelligently. Also, Nigel, I wanted to follow up on your comment. The property's been replatted just in the last few days, and that's
okay. Yeah.
So now there is a separate. So what we're doing is through the end of this year, they're going to be paying 100%, just like it was taxable. It doesn't change the tax status for this year. And then from January of next year through 2040, it's a 0, and then 41 to the end of the lease, it's 0, assuming we get state approval. So
I'm with you.
There's probably going to be a month of potential taxes because we're going to probably sign the lease sometime the end of October, maybe 2 months, depending on when the lease is actually signed. But yes, that's the structure: is 100% taxes through this end of this year, and then 0
kicking out next year.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense. Got you. And with that said, as far as the property tax abatement starting, obviously you all have a long-term MTA. Your client has a very long lease on the property, which makes sense, I'm sure, because it's a ground lease. They're investing in building the infrastructure and all of that. Want to ask you about the cost benefit analysis that you put together. Was that something that you did? Because I know you use funny math, so I just want to ask you about that.
That's the state form of the cost benefit analysis that we did prepare. That is correct. So,
all right, these multipliers that you used, are those? And I'm sorry if you can't. I guess you can still see me. I'm looking at the spreadsheet that I have pulled up. Are those standard multipliers essentially? Those. Yes. Okay. And then big picture. When we look, let's just go through the total so we don't get into the weeds with everybody on the call with this. When you take a look at the total new direct and indirect induced jobs, that 14.6. So by MTA adding this center here, there's 7 new jobs, specifically at the center. But based on your analysis, that actually equates to 14 new jobs. Am I understanding that correctly?
So Nigel, I plug in this form the number of jobs and the hourly wage. Okay, if you're looking at the form, those are the two variables that are added. Everything else is generated out of the form. Okay, those are all part of the state's form. That's how all that is calculated. So that's what the state calculates would be they use that 2.0859 multiplier for new jobs. And so that gets you the direct and indirect, which is the 14.6.
Got you. And when you look at the 560,
right,
that 37,000 in total new and state local sales taxes, that's basically an annual number, like almost $40,000 per year, correct?
And again, those are all generated out of the state form. And so I can't change those numbers. I'm not sure that this project really is going to generate that much in state sales tax because this is a weird project. You know, this is a governmental entity project, not a private development project, but the state's form generates those numbers when you plug in 7 and 16.99, which are the two variables that I plugged in. Everything else generates out of the form.
That makes sense. Thank you for sharing that. I just want to see, and just from my calculations on, just to kind of give all the board members an idea, based on my calculations right now, and this is assuming that there's no change in the property tax rate that was passed several months ago. But based on the form, based on that, the property taxes in total for 2024, the full shopping center parcel as well as the corner parcel is about $40,000, $41,000 roughly. If you take that and base it on 1.75 acres, and again, Jim, I know it's kind of been replatted, but just kind of using rough numbers, we're talking about $12,000 a year. And again, that's based on if the current tax rate stays the same. So we're abating about $12,000 a year, roughly, for this development, just putting that number in perspective. So I know personally, looking at the numbers, I think it's, for all the impact that it will have, I certainly personally think it's worth it. So anyway, that's great. And then last question, and I'll turn it back over to Chair Hauser. And I appreciate your time allowing me to ask these questions. Did this have to go through the Do Better bill process? And that may be a better question for Margaret, or did it not, because it's not a cash grant and it's simply a property tax abatement?
This did not. It's a property tax abatement, but it is not a property tax abatement in the general sense of the concept that we're used to. This was not done specifically for the economic development, although it does lend itself to economic development. It was not done for that purpose to induce economic development. This is a pilot agreement that is done primarily because the beneficiary of it is a governmental entity. If MTA were to have purchased the property outright, they would be entitled to a tax exemption by title, by ownership of that property. So since this is kind of a little bit of a quirky, arrangement, we are having to go through these steps in order to treat MTA the way that they would be treated as if they were the full owner of the property. Is that helpful?
Right. I think so. So just make sure I'm clear. So basically, obviously, the MTA wanted to buy the property, Jim's client. The property owner did not, which I run into this issue a lot. Owners do not necessarily want to sell. They want a long-term ground lease. So MTA then had to do a long-term ground lease for the property. But if they had purchased it, they would have gotten the tax exemption. So by getting this abatement, because they were unable to negotiate a purchase of the property and doing the ground lease, they're getting the same thing now, essentially, that they would have gotten if they would have purchased. Correct.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody giving me that that time. And thank you, Jim, for answering my questions about your funny math. I appreciate it.
Unfortunately, there's not much I can do with it because the state gives us this form. It says fill it in. So I'm not saying that I think these numbers will come as a result of this, because this is, Margaret pointed out, is a really unusual project. It's not the usual project where you're giving a tax abatement to basically benefit a government agency, which is what is happening here. You're giving a tax abatement to basically make it where MTA doesn't have to get money appropriated each year from Metro and pay it over to the trustee in property tax. And so that really is all that's going on here. There's no other incentive really being provided.
Yep, and just lastly, and in this case too, just from a legal standpoint, because it's a property tax abatement through Metro, the IDB has to be the official owner of the property, which is why it's a sublease between the current property owner and MTA, correct?
That's correct. In order for property to be exempt, it's got to be owned by a governmental entity, and that's the IDB. So the structure here is to have the landowner, and the landowner, fortunately, because I've run into this before, the landowners don't always want to cooperate with that structure. This landowner was very open to cooperating with us so that we could create this structure where basically he's going to lease the property. He's going to convey the property to the IDB, lease it back, and have a sublease with us. And then under the sublease, MTA is responsible for all the cost of operating the facility. Right.
Absolutely. And do you recall how the council voted as far as were there any council members that objected to this?
We had several questions in the committees, but I think at the end it was approved unanimously. Steve was at the meeting. I was not. So Steve, that's my recollection, but you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, on the pilot agreement, Jim, it was a unanimous vote of council.
Right.
Okay. Well, thank you both for answering my questions, and thank you as well, Margaret. Thank you, Chair Hauser, and my fellow board members for your patience and your time on this. Thank you.
Always glad to help, Michael.
Hey, Steve, is it possible, you mentioned a federal economic impact document. Is that something that you could share with the group? I'm just thinking as we sort of put more in an effort for transparency, as we put more information on our IDB site about the projects that come through, I think having that broader perspective on what you gave to the federal government of the sort of ancillary impact of this is probably valuable for the public to know.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. There are two documents I can forward. Would it be appropriate to send them to Margaret Darby? The two would be, one is about a 10-page overview of the project that gives a lot of the background that we've talked about today. The second one is we had actually applied for a discretionary federal funding program called the Federal Build Act under US DOT, and they require, as part of that process, a full cost benefit analysis. So that one's kind of lengthy, but it's obviously a public document, so we're happy to send that one along as well, and it includes all the methodology on the cost benefit analysis.
Right. Yeah, share that with Margaret, and then Margaret, if you can share that with the board members, and then as we're looking at the website, to me, I just think it helps the community better understand the project. One, to get the overview, not that everybody's going to go through a many-page economic but for those that are interested, to really understand why you're doing these regional hubs, right? You're not doing it for the 7 employees. You're doing it to have broader access to public transit in parts of our city so that folks can have better mobility, right?
Correct. Actually, the employees that Jim alluded to that were entered into the form are primarily just security and custodial personnel for the actual facility, and a couple of operators, bus operator positions that are created out of the route extensions that we would be doing.
Were there any community discussions around this? Just, I'm assuming the council, it sounds like, approved it overwhelmingly, but this is a big deal for the community. I just didn't know the extent to which you all were engaged in community discussions around it.
We've had, even going back to when Councilman Kindle was in the district, had several neighborhood meetings, and folks are generally supportive, a lot of questions. Once we essentially have all the land transactions squared away, we'll initiate a design process, and that will be a fully neighborhood engaged process. We have had conversations with the neighboring property owners. There's a church across the street, funeral home immediately adjacent. And in fact, we were just successful in getting a federal, it's called a HOPE grant, about $150,000 HOPE grant to expand our public engagement process and the design process. So we expect to be kicking that off right after the first of the year. As we get, into the holidays, it's tough to get people involved, and we'll be doing other site work first quarter, second quarter next year. We would expect construction of this not to take place probably until 2022 and full operation in 2023.
Gotcha. Very helpful. So other board members, I know there are lots of documents that we were sent attached to this deal. What questions do you have for folks?
I have a question, and this is actually in my neck of the woods, so I'm excited about seeing this come to the North Nashville area. I'm closer to the border. So you may have already said this, but I didn't hear it. Can somebody drive their car there and park it and then take the bus, or do they have to take a bus to get there?
Right now, there's no, the site doesn't really lend itself to extensive parking. So the neighborhood transit centers are really for transit connections and then closer in neighborhood connections. Now, frankly, whether down the road as the site is fully developed, whether we're able to work something out with the owner where there could be some shared parking. So that could be out there as the site is more fully developed, but 1 3/4 acres will actually be fairly tight for what we're trying to accomplish. One of the sites I alluded to earlier, a Skyline area site, for instance, is a regional center that we would really try to target to include park and ride capacity.
Thank you.
Winnie, that's a great question. Other questions?
Can I just make a quick comment, Ginger?
Yes.
Just want, we mentioned the Do Better bill and that kind of stuff. I do just want to mention, I think it's great, actually, just these pilots in general. We started doing sort of creative intergovernmental pilots, like with NBHA, we've done several, and this kind of thing strikes me as that similar kind of thing where we're being very creative to sort of advance the mission of transit here. So very supportive of that. Obviously, in the area we're putting this hub is very key to the transit and what we've been pushing the last few years. And then the Do Better thing I was mentioning was we actually did get like half the info with the jobs from the state thing you had to fill out. So the spreadsheet that I just saw. So we did get a lot of info there. And, I think long term, sort of the next phase of some of the Do Better ideas was not necessarily for this project, but for like when we do those things with MGHA, we did want more info from quasi-governmental sources at some point for the construction aspect of things, with MGHA building a lot of buildings and that sort of thing. The next phase push idea was to get a lot of that info because those jobs are important and we're trying to build up the career jobs and fair wages and that sort of thing of those by receiving info. Of course, all we're really doing is receiving info, but inevitably that pushes more wages. So, but today they're correct. It's just for more of the deals that come straight out of ECD, the private loan deals. But very supportive of this. I think it's great. I love creative ways that we're doing pilots, and I think this will be a wonderful hub. Thank you for the work, guys.
Thank you, Anthony. And I know you were sort of the lead with that Do Better bill, so I appreciate sort of your thoughts around the connection and the intent behind legislation like that. And Bob, you have reviewed these documents. I'm sure, Margaret, you have as well. Is there anything that you want to sort of just talk us through any of the documents?
The only thing that I would like to point out is that as far as entertaining a motion goes, is that there is a resolution that's been prepared that once that is approved, it will authorize the execution of all of the attendant documents that were submitted to the board in advance. So you don't need to go through and try to approve each one of those agreements. Approval of the resolution authorizes the execution of all of those other documents.
Thank you.
I agree with that. And frankly, I want to praise those who drafted this document, especially Jim Murphy. It's extremely well done, and it approves things that, frankly, not everybody has the time to, perhaps on the board as volunteers, to go through and analyze. But those of us who are required to do that, our profession, I find it, as just as Margaret said, just very well done.
Thank you, Suk. Appreciate the compliment. And Ginger, if you want to, I'll be happy to kind of give a summary of each document if you think that would be helpful, to just go through each one if you need that. It's just a question of whether you want me to or whether.
I think maybe just to explain what each is, right? Because there's so many, just to have a sense.
Okay, let me do that. I'll be really quick, I promise, okay? So the first document I'm going to talk about is just the quitclaim deed. And as Nigel pointed out in his conversation, in order for the property to be exempt, we've got to convey the property to the IDB. So that's what the quitclaim does. It conveys the property to the IDB. The next document is the facility lease. And the facility lease is basically the lease agreement between the IDB and the landowner that provides that you're leasing the property that you now own to him. And basically, he's responsible for everything regarding the operation of the property, because between you and the landowner, this is the former landowner, now the tenant, this is the document that sets up that relationship. We also have, MTA has a ground lease with the landowner, that there's a lease subordination document that will be executed that basically says that ground lease now is a sublease, because the landowner now, who is now the landowner, will become the tenant under the facility lease with the IDB, and then he will sublease the property to MTA, and MTA takes over all of the responsibilities that the landowner has in its lease with the IDB. It takes on all those responsibilities pursuant to its agreement with HOLO, the tenant under the facility lease. We've subordinated the MTA lease to make it clear that it's a sublease during the time that the facility lease is in place. But if the facility lease terminates before the MTA lease terminates, then it will be a primary ground lease. The next document is the deed of trust and assignment of leases, which basically only assures HOLO that it's got protection in its right to recapture the property, get the property conveyed back to it from the MTA, from the IDB lease. The facility lease terminates. The landowner, basically, HOLO, after it conveys the property, it has an option under the facility lease to acquire the property back at any point. And that's pretty typical in these pilot agreements. They can acquire the property back, but if they do, the abatement terminates. So if for some reason MTA terminated the lease early, then HOLO could terminate the facility lease. The abatement would be over, and so they could terminate the facility lease and get the property back. So the IDB really doesn't want to own the property when there's not an abatement in play. So if for any reason the MTA lease terminated, HOLO could exercise that option and acquire the property back. This deed of trust just secures that option. And then there is the pilot agreement, and the pilot agreement is really the agreement that sets forth the payment in lieu of tax structure, the amount of payment in lieu of tax. That's what we were discussing with Nigel earlier, the fact that it's 100% payment in lieu of tax for the remainder of this year. And then it will be 0 for 20 years and 0 for the next 50 years if the state approves a term longer than 20 years. So that's the basic documents that I think we've presented. And then the resolution that Margaret mentioned, which approves all of the documents.
Thank you, Jim. That was well done. If the state does not approve the 50 years, then it becomes a 20-year. Is that, does it come back to this board or is it automatic?
It's automatic. The way we structure the document is the years after 20, the years after 20 are conditioned on the state approval, because there's really, you can't give anything more than 20 years under state law. So they either give us the years after 20, or we're in a situation where MTA is going to have to pay taxes in years 21 through 70.
Gotcha. So this is something that will be beyond the lifetime of probably everyone on this WebEx right now.
Definitely me.
If you ever think about the impact of this kind of work, I would say what we're deciding today actually may have a longer lifespan than any of us, and maybe any other deal that we've done, looking 70 years out. So I want to make sure that we're thorough in making sure anybody has any questions, knowing that this is sort of groundbreaking for this board. Are there any other questions?
Yes, please.
Ken.
So if I understand this, we're going to buy some land that it can be tax-free. And I want to set aside does it make good sense to have substations for Metro Transit? I think it's a great idea. So I got no issue with that. I'm trying to understand if I get it right. MTA is a nonprofit corporation that is somehow affiliated with Metro government, but it is not.
Actually, MTA is an agency of the Metro government, similar to the IDB.
Okay, so the old DTO structure is gone, right?
Yes, it is a governmental entity. It's an agency of Metro.
So, and I guess we're going through kind of a long way, Jim, to not have property tax assessed that would go to Metro and turn around and give it back to MTA. And I guess I'm curious. This is about $12,000, and we spent a whole bunch of time, energy, and effort in legal fees, instructions, and all that to do this. What would be the issue with letting MTA pay the tax and just give it back to them as part of their allocation? I'm a little confused.
Again, the concern was from an MTA standpoint that paying the tax would take away from the funds they have available to provide transit service, because each year it would have to be budgeted into their budget, and then it would come out and go to Metro to pay the tax. And so from a financing standpoint, they're concerned. Steve can go into more detail than I can. My task was to create the structure that would make it where they didn't have to pay the tax. But I think the concern is that with concerns over appropriation, that having a tax payment that basically is a flow through from Metro to back to Metro didn't seem to be, from a budgetary standpoint, a good idea.
Okay. And so the assumption then is that Metro, for whatever reason, wouldn't give the $12,000 back to Metro.
Right. It would erode what MTA had to spend. Yes, that was the concern.
Okay.
So this is Steve Blaine. If I could add 1 or 2 points to that. It's the annual nature. So on a 50-year lease, either $12,000, it's $600,000.
Right.
The other issue is the planned improvements will be significant. So on any type of a reappraisal, we certainly would expect that $12,000 number would go up if it were taxable.
So Steve, your point is that why keep up with all this over the next 70 years? Okay, I understand.
And I would certainly be on the list of folks that the chair referenced who does not expect to be around at the end of this deal. So.
Steve.
I got it.
Steve, what's the budget for the improvements? You said they're substantial. I'm sorry if I missed it. It's been loud.
Our total project budget, and that includes soft costs like design, surveying, frankly, legal associated with it, is about $8.4 million. And that will include some traffic control improvements, the intersection of 26th and Clarksville, some pedestrian improvements, but I don't think we don't have the specific design split out of costs, but I think it would be reasonable to say that the value of the actual improvements on the site would probably be between $3 and $4 million.
Okay. So the nature of this project, did we do this with the Hillsborough High Center?
With Hillsborough, actually, most of that center will be within Metro right-of-way. And then the portion that is not is actually on school property. And we just did a cooperation agreement with the school district for the use of that land with no value exchange.
So the other 8 to 10 sites that will be developed, will they be, if they're privately held right now, will they be subject to this same treatment, in your opinion?
Jim alluded to earlier, our preference would always be to own the land if possible. But when you have a really good site, you're open to options. So it would really be hard to project at this point until we were actually dealing with a specific site.
Okay.
Certainly, if this works out and if the IDB is amenable, particularly if the state signs off, it would certainly be an instrument we would consider in the future if it were appropriate.
Okay. And we've have unanimous consent from the council and have not violated any do better bill regulatory issues as far as I can tell.
That's correct.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken and Quinn. We haven't told Quinn the amount of investment being made. I appreciate that. Are there any other questions or comments about this?
Yeah, I have one question.
Okay.
I'm sure somebody probably said it, but I didn't get it in my notes. So the property on the Polo, their compensation over this long period of time is from the lease payments from
MTA.
Yeah, MTA. And so how much is that, and what document can I find that in? Because I just haven't been able to find that.
It's probably private.
I don't know, Margaret, I'm not sure whether we shared the ground lease with you or not. It's $170,000 a year for the first 5 years, and it goes up 10% each 5 years thereafter. But I don't know that we shared the ground lease with you, since that's not a document the IDB is executing.
The community design process that MTA will go through, does it involve the rest of the site in hopes that whatever the individual develops there really is an asset, or is it for the transit hub?
Our process would be oriented toward the transit hub, but the property owner who's looking to develop the rest of the site will be engaged in it. It's been a very collaborative process with him up to this point. Jim alluded to the fact that he believes in the social mission of it. In fact, overall, that it will benefit the rest of his property development. So we would expect both with he and also the adjacent landowners for there to be a kind of a collaborative design process to try to put it together. And alluding to one of the members' questions earlier, pursuing whether there might even be shared parking arrangements, for a park and ride type of application.
Yes, I think Winnie's comment about allowing for some park and ride is we as a city build a transit system that's not just have no other way to get anywhere, but because it's used to actually get places via transit. I think having some of that parking is really useful. Are there any other questions or comments, or are we ready for a motion?
Ginger, if I may, the only thing I would just add is I know that there's been some discussion about the long-term nature of the deal. And obviously we brought up, the historic Dale deal as well. That was done where I grew up. I would just say that it's pretty standard, obviously, on even for us in my work when we're trying to buy property, if we can't, to do long-term ground leases, simply because of the amount of investment you're making in the infrastructure of the site, soft costs in the building. And obviously, if we think about the other pilot agreements that we've done here recently, such as the Bridgestone deal and others, those are typically, longer. And so I do understand there's some concern from board members just on the length of time. But again, for these types of ground lease deals, it's very standard. I mean, we typically ask for 60 years as well on our ground leases, quite frankly. So just did a deal last week. So anyway, just pointing that out for
That's helpful commentary. So I think we are at the point where I am ready to entertain a motion on the resolution for the pilot.
I'll make a motion.
So Nigel has made a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Quinn, okay, thank you. Is there any discussions on the motion? Okay, hearing none, we're ready to vote. Do that by roll call. So Nigel Hodge.
Approve.
Ken Weaver.
Approve.
Christina Allen.
Approve.
Quinn Siegel.
Approve.
Keela Johnson.
Approve.
And Sarah's not with us. Winnie Forrester.
Approve.
Anthony Davis.
Approve.
And I approve as well. The motion passes. And congratulations to MTA and the whole team that put this together.
Thank y'all very much.
Can't wait to take them out of the ground.
Thank you.
So just a couple, we're almost done. Just a couple of housekeeping things. You will have received correspondence letting you know that Audra Ladd, who was staff for our board and in economic community development for the city, has moved on from her position with the mayor's office. Kathy West with Metro Finance, who you're familiar with, will step in to do the administrative assistance to the board. And as you know by the emails, Margaret Darby of Metro Legal has been really stepping up to give us approved assistance beyond legal these last few days. And as staff changes sort of occur, I will keep you all informed on what's going on with that. Kathy, do we have any financial? Yes.
Sure, Howard. Can I ask everybody? I don't know if it's just me, but I'm getting a lot of feedback on my end. So I would just ask everybody to mute their line if they're not speaking, please.
That's better. Yeah, thank you. Kathy West, is there a financial update and any financial matters we need to approve?
Since our last meeting was at the Sunny West Conference Center, we did not have a parking invoice, but I thought I'd go ahead and share the cash balance in the Industrial Development Board Fund, and that's $64,513.
Thank you, Kathy. You will remember as Metro was doing their budget during the Briley administration, that we voted to give essentially about $500,000 from our budget to the city to allow them to sort of help with our budget challenges. I'd like to say that fixed all the budget challenges that we're in right now. Unfortunately, with the referendum, they're not fixed, but I think that I just wanted to remind everyone that's why our budget is now $64,000, is the board did make that previous commitment to give a pretty large balance to the city. Our next meeting, Margaret, do we have a meeting date, or Kathy, or?
This is Margaret, and it would be my recommendation that we wait to actually schedule the next meeting until we have matters to come before the agenda. This meeting date is, I believe, and Kathy can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe that this meeting date is kind of our general regular meeting date. So presumably the one in November would still be available for everyone if we have matters that come up between now and then. As it stands right now, I don't know if we have anything. Bob Took may have something brewing that I'm not aware of necessarily, but as far as I know, we could just wait and schedule until we have something available, something ready.
Is the rest of the group okay with that?
And I have nothing. I'm happy.
All right. Well, with that concludes our agenda. And I really want to thank Metro Finance, Metro Legal, ITS. I know doing this via WebEx is a little challenging, so I appreciate everyone's patience. I think we did a great job getting through something that really is pretty groundbreaking. So I appreciate all the members. It is good to see you and hear from you. And with that, there being no further business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion moved.
Second.
Okay, it is moved and seconded. And is there any objection to adjourning? Okay, well, we are adjourned. Thank you for your participation.
Ginger.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.